Hello, and welcome to the TWSN Patreon page. Here we will provide you with the sports betting tips, picks, and information in order for you to become a successful gambler. We have 5 packages that I think really do an incredible job of providing the information tailored to you, what you want, and what your sports betting needs are. For more information, reach out to the TWSN team, but we have a ton of stuff coming your way. Content from fantasy football, sports betting for UFC, NBA, NHL, and of course the NFL. We are so excited to be able to bring this service to you, and let us know if there's any more information you need.
Get up, let me begin. This is TWSN. You ain't heard about us yet, well you better know now because it's the place that it all goes down on.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of ShopTalk.
Like you, my hands are everything.
What is
to me.
happening? Sorry, I had a video running in the background. Welcome back to another episode of ShopTalk. Trey and I are here per usual. Another Thursday night game. Big game tonight for the Ravens. Should be an easy win for them. We'll touch on that later. But we're gonna get started with Odell Beckham Jr. Going to the Rams. Trey, how are you feeling about this?
I mean, look, I said this long before they signed Odell. I feel like the Rams are the most complete team in the NFC. They're the team that scares me the most as a Cowboys fan in the NFC. And now they just added another weapon with Odell Beckham Jr. Cooper Kupp right now has been playing like one of the best, if not the best wide receiver in the NFL. Robert Woods is starting to get going as of late. And now you add Odell Beckham Jr. to sort of just another weapon for Sean McVay to use in that system, another weapon for Matthew Stafford to look to down the field. And I think I'm really excited to see, Odell Beckham in a little bit more of a pass-happy system. I still think that the Rams are going to try and establish the run game, but they just take more shots down the field. They're a little bit more aggressive in terms of just, trying to get their playmakers the ball, I think, than the Browns. And I think Odell also needs just a fresh start. So I feel like, Odell on the Rams is just going to make them even more explosive. And the Rams are like the favorite to win the NFC right now.
Yeah, I'm not going to be one of those guys that says Odell's a bad culture guy. I feel like that just kind of.
You think he's a bad culture guy? I don't think he is, to be honest.
No, I mean, he's not the best, but I think he's just a wide receiver in the NFL. I feel like they all kind of carry the same weight. But I will say this: it's an interesting move as far as Odell. Odell wanted more targets. He wanted the ball. Obviously, his dad was posting stuff for him. But by the way, if I'm ever making millions of dollars playing a game and my dad starts posting highlights on his social media, I'd be very upset. But I mean, this is a quote I'm taking directly from John Johnson for the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, he played for the Rams. He said, this is in reference to the Rams. I feel like they had a good thing going, a complete offense. From being in LA, I know the offense runs through Cooper Kupp. Even in the run game, the pass game, the screen game, it kind of runs through Cooper Kupp. And obviously, Odell is a big name, and he's going to want that attention as well. So it will be interesting. I feel like that's a great point, and I want to raise that to the key friend as well. It's always hard to get these big-time pieces integrated into an offense, especially immediately, because it takes time to build yourself into the offense. The Rams have been winning games with what they're already doing, and adding another name like Odell is obviously not going to – I don't think it's going to hurt them. But how long is it going to take for Odell to figure it out? Is it going to be an Antonio Brown situation where he'll come in and be an immediate impact, or is it going to be, like the other big name moves that we've seen that just don't pan out? Julio Jones, currently with the Titans, hasn't done much. A lot of it's been injury related, but it happens all the time. I'd even use a basketball reference, right? The Miami Heat, initially with LeBron and all those guys when they got together, even LeBron when we went back to the Cavs, it takes a while. It doesn't happen overnight. And I'm curious to see how they work out. Obviously, I think this is a good addition for any team. And I'm just hopeful that he figures it out. I'd hate to see Odell waste his career. Obviously, he's a talented player. And it stinks that he's gone almost, but I feel like the Browns are almost better without him. So
that's interesting you say that, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that, a little bit at some point. But the last thing I'll say about Odell is this: 2 things. I think one thing, back to the maturity factor, I feel like Odell's matured a lot since he left New York. And I think the problem is Odell is one of the most, if not the most popular player at face value with all his followings in the league. And so even long before, I mean, you knew this, when he was on the Browns last year, if he wasn't getting the ball early, people were complaining. Right. I think what ends up happening is he's just such a a focal point. He has such a large following that even when he isn't talking, he's the center of conversation. When he's not getting the ball, other people are screaming, "Give him the ball." And I think that what you saw is, there have been articles about Baker Mayfield potentially just being distracted by trying to get him the ball all the time.
I 100% believe that's a thing. And it's
Yeah.
not a slight at Odell Beckham by any means. It's just you have a guy like that in your team, you're going to try to give him the ball.
Yeah.
I hate to use one game sample size, and it's not like Baker came out and was the reincarnation of John Elway. But I mean, the Raiders or the Browns kicked the crap out of, the TWSN Bengals this weekend, and it just comes down to, was Odell holding the team back? I don't want to blame him solely, obviously, but I feel like that the teams just like last year, the same thing happened. They just played better without him.
Sometimes there's just too many mouths to feed in offense, and I think the problem is for some teams you're okay with that, but Odell is just such a large following, and I think there's so much attention around him that when he isn't getting the ball, people are going to talk about it, and sometimes it helps your quarterback a little bit not to have to worry about constantly getting a player the ball, and all that good jazz. But regardless, I agree with you. I think him on the Rams is going to take time. But if they get things going, especially when the playoffs roll around, it just makes this offense so much harder to stop. And it's not like they're already easy to stop to begin with.
I'm excited to see it pan out. All the best for Odell. I feel like he's had a tough stint in the NFL. I think it'll be good to see him, obviously be able to play with the quarterback like Matthew Stafford. Moving into our next point, Jordan Love had to step up and play for the Packers. Looking back at that performance, rough one for Jordan Love. How worried are you for him?
Honestly, I'm not that worried. The reason I say this is this. When I look at the Packers offense, a lot of their stuff is timing based. And what I really realize is just how much freedom and how much of that offense rolls through Aaron Rodgers. And I know that sounds like that's an obvious statement, but a lot of those things, what I realize is a lot of the stuff that goes on for the Packers is just freelance off of what Aaron Rodgers sees out there. And I say that to say there are certain plays like that screenplay they love to run to Aaron Jones where they split him out and they sort of check the numbers and throw it to him. Well, when it's Jordan Love back there are certain things that he's seeing that Aaron Rodgers would see, and they might see it differently. That results in Aaron Rodgers checking out of a play, checking into a different play. Maybe Aaron Rodgers throws it earlier, he throws it later. But I think the biggest thing is when you see Jordan Love trying to connect with Devontae Adams. There were multiple times where they're trying to throw that fade route. As a tight end, that's something like fade routes take time, with your quarterback. And to sit there and throw Jordan Love into the fire and to sort of expect him to have the same results as Aaron Rodgers. People forget Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, that connection took time. Devontae Adams was horrible his first couple of years, but he and Aaron Rodgers practiced, and now they're probably the best duo in the league. So to expect Jordan Love to come in with an offense that gives the quarterback so much freedom and to get everybody lined up in the right spot in a place like Kansas City and take care of business is a lot to ask of any player, and especially a second-year player, but he basically is a rookie. It's his first game. But I felt like what Matt LaFleur said after the game, he was like, he puts a lot of it on himself. I think that speaks dividends to him essentially saying they could have made it a little bit easier for Jordan Love in such a hostile environment.
So I also want to throw out that Aaron Rodgers isn't exactly the easiest person to work with as an organization. He's a fantastic player. He's been great for Green Bay throughout the years. But in recent times especially, we see him kind of getting not a prima donna attitude, but some sort of –
he's an acquired taste.
Yeah, some sort of attitude that not everyone's going to enjoy. So that whole vaccination thing is real interesting, and it depends where you sit on your opinion of that. But that alone, puts a bad taste in my mouth about Aaron Rodgers. So I was hoping for Jordan Love to come and have a great game. But the thing is, rookies or first round quarterbacks in their first starts in their career just don't have good games traditionally. Statistically, there's a stat called adjusted net yards per attempt. And it is considered to be a Football Perspective posted an article in 2012, and they say that number correlates better to wins than any other advanced stat. So, I mean, you look at some people who jumped off the charts in their first game. Marcus Mariota, first start, 4 touchdowns, 209 yards. His number for that was 15.59. And then you look at other players, who've had great careers up to this point. Patrick Mahomes, 284 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick, 2 sacks. He had a 6.05 NEY. And you also look at people like Baker Mayfield, 4.91. Jordan Love had a tougher game than most. He did have a 4.4 for his first performance. But guess who was directly under him, Trey? Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson. So you look at one start, right? You can't judge someone off of one start. I'm excited to see Jordan Love move forward. I think it's going to take a lot of time for him to get used to that Green Bay offense, which we were talking about earlier, has been Aaron Rodgers based for the last last 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be something that's going to take time to work into. It's going to take something that Aaron Rodgers might even have to be a better mentor. I'm not saying he's not, but might have to sit back and take a leadership role with them moving forward and help him take over the reins, because eventually Aaron Rodgers is going to be gone. And that's things to be sooner rather than later.
And this was such a complicated thing, right? I mean, Jordan Love, it wasn't like he knew going into this thing that he was going to be the starter. I mean, this culminated over literally days, right? So I don't think it's fair to sit there and look at this one start and say, oh, Jordan Love is not the answer or whatever. I think the Jordan Love that we'll see eventually when he knows the starting job is his and he'll have a full offseason to work with Matt LaFleur and the players on the team, then we can start evaluating how he looks. But to just sit there and evaluate him after being thrown into the fire against a Kansas City Chiefs team that's heard a lot of noise, he's on the road. I don't like the idea of people just sitting there saying that he isn't a good quarterback. Now, are there some things that are certainly cause for concern? Yes, but this was a tough circumstance for a kid for his first start.
Absolutely. I'm excited to watch him progress. Moving into our next conversation, we're really going to quickly touch on Cam Newton going back to the Panthers. This is awesome to see. It's a cool storyline, and it's going to be fun.
Is he going to turn things around for our boys, though? That's the real question.
I love that he's back. I think he's a better option. Unfortunately, I feel like we were wrong, Trey, on Sam Darnold. He's proved us wrong in believing in him. I hate to say that. He's still young. He still has, I guess, maybe another season to prove something. But Cam Newton's back, and I think that's going to be a fun storyline especially for hope for the organization, just temporarily. But I don't think it changes the outcome of their season.
My bold prediction is this. I think Cam Newton establishes himself as the guy to go with for now for the Carolina Panthers moving forward for the next few years. Does that mean that this offseason they don't draft a quarterback maybe to be behind him, or they don't look to make plans? But I think that Cam Newton's going to take his job back, because I've been a firm believer since they released him in the first place that he wasn't the problem. This is a guy that when he was healthy, the last time he was really healthy for Carolina, the two times, he was with the Patriots. He played really, really well, got COVID, right? Then he was in Carolina. They were playing really well, hurt himself, and it sort of went to shambles. And then the year before, when McCaffrey was a rookie, he was healthy, and they got back to the wild card and lost in the Superdome to the Saints. Cam Newton is a very good quarterback, in my opinion. I think he gets a lot of flack. I certainly think he's not as great as he was in his All-Pro MVP days, but Cam Newton's a great quarterback, and I think he's going to prove to everybody that he can still play in this league. And I think he's going to bring the Panthers back to at least a mediocrity, you know what I'm saying? And maybe they can finish, 8-9 or something like that, 7-10. Give a little hope to Carolina.
Yeah, I like that he's back once again, and I'm happy he's back. And I feel like he's going to end up being the quarterback for the rest of the season for this team. That being said, as you stated, bringing them back to mediocrity is probably a more reasonable, more reasonable vision for them. It's just a matter of really what can he do, right?
They got to tailor things to him, and I think it depends on McCaffrey has to be healthy as well. Robbie Anderson has to show up for them, and DJ Moore's got to get going. But I think, if people think he's going to, take them on some crazy run, they've got to temper their expectations a little bit.
Yeah, that will not be happening. But once again, happy he's back. Maybe we'll get some cool, fun games moving forward.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun to watch. I mean, that first game when he's back at home, he does the Superman pose. I mean, it's going to be electric. I'm going to be tuned in for sure.
As always, every Thursday, we give you guys a couple of takes on some games moving forward. I got to check my notes and see what our numbers were for last week, Trey. While I'm doing that, why don't you begin talking about the Chargers versus Vikings this week? Who do you have?
Chargers versus Vikings, I think, might be one of the more exciting games to watch this weekend, simply because I think the Vikings are the team that when you look at them at face value, a lot of people take them to be a mediocre team, a team that, has some talent but won't get the job done. But Kirk Cousins, once again, has put together another good year. Dalvin Cook isn't quite as electric as he was last year, but he's still one of the best backs in the league. Justin Jefferson is still alive and kicking, doing his thing, as the same as for Adam Thielen. That defense continues to make plays when they are called upon. They've been in a lot of close games. But then you have on the other side of the ball the Los Angeles Chargers. And I'll be honest, Dom, a lot of people are high on the Los Angeles Chargers and feel like they're this big-time team. Me, not so much. I don't know what type of Chargers team is going to show up. I feel like they have the talent, but they've been inconsistent at times. So with that being said, I feel like we got two teams that are both really talented but haven't figured out a way to consistently put a stretch together. I'm going to take the Vikings. Some people might take this as an upset. I just really like the Vikings right now. I like the way Kirk Cousins has been playing lately, and I feel like the Vikings are going to be hungry to try and get this thing on track and try to win. I think they like their coach, Mike Zimmer. I think Mike Zimmer is a good coach. I know people are saying he might be on the hot seat. I think he is a good coach, and I think he's going to have them ready to play. That's not to say that I don't think the Chargers are good as well, but for some reason, my hunch is that the Vikings will find a way to get a win.
Yeah, I disagree with you here for this game, Trey. I'm going with the Chargers all the way, and the reason is they have the best secret weapon in the NFL. That is Donald Parham, Stetson tight end, graduated. Every time he catches the ball, it's a touchdown.
That's pretty good reason.
That's not my reason, but it is actually. I am going with the Chargers. They just have an electric offense, and I feel like there is going to be a great. This is going to be another competitive game. I also do like the Vikings offense a lot, but I just don't know if they have the firepower to put up in an offensive matchup, which I think this is going to be with the Chargers, who are an offensive-heavy team, and then with a slightly better defense. So I'm taking the Chargers in this one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game for sure.
Moving into the next one, Raiders-Chiefs. Raiders let us down last week, Trey, after losing to the Giants.
That was crazy. They got a lot going on, but I'm still shocked they lost.
Now they have the Chiefs, and Trey, I think it's time that we mutually agree that the Raiders' fairy tale run is probably over. The Kansas City Chiefs need this game. They need to win this game. The Raiders, I will say, always seem to give the Kansas City Chiefs run for the money every single year. Every single year, even when they're heavy underdogs, which the way Kansas City's been playing, they're not. But I'm still going to rock out with the Chiefs this week. I think this is a game that the Chiefs are going to come in motivated and prepared for more than they have been in the past, because now they are in mandatory win. They have to win. And I feel like we haven't seen Mahomes with his back against the wall in the regular season very much. And I'm excited to see how he handles this.
To me, the primetime game, this is when Mahomes reminds everybody why he is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. I think Mahomes goes nuts. I think that offense goes nuts. And I think this is the opportunity, Dom, that this defense gets to prove to everybody that they can play at a championship level. I can't think of a better opportunity. I think that the defense is going to show up. I think the Chiefs are going to get a much-needed win. I think they're going to, sort of calm everybody that's panicking about that team down and remind everybody that they are a threat still in the AFC.
I don't want to go out of the way and say they're going to calm everyone down, because I feel like people still have a good reason to be calm, right? To still have a good reason to be a little stressed out about these Chiefs. The Raiders are sitting above them in the standings in the division currently in the AFC West, and this is a game that the Raiders can win. I feel like if the Chiefs drop this one, they're going to be sitting at 5-5, and then it's going to mean the Raiders, and assuming the Chargers win their game, are both going to be. This is going to be a tough situation for them, especially with the Broncos creeping up as 5-4 as well. This is a must-win game. I am giving this one to the Chiefs at a slight edge, but after this, looking forward, I don't know if we're going to see the Chiefs really excel as well as they have been doing.
I'm not worried about the Chiefs. I think they're going to figure out a way to get it done. I think this Mahomes hate is crazy. Yes, he's made some mistakes, but he's still Patrick Mahomes. I think Andy Reid and that team is going to figure it out. I really have confidence in Kansas City.
All right. We're nearing our Thursday night game, so we're going to let you guys get going here soon, but we have one more prediction to make with the Ravens and the Dolphins tonight. To keep this short and brief, I feel like we know who's going to win this game, Trey, unless you're going to differ from me.
Yeah, the Ravens historically have been drumming the Dolphins. I don't think anything changes. I think Lamar and the boys get it done for the Ravens.
No, yeah, absolutely. But the Miami Dolphins, Trey, that's what I was talking about. The Miami Dolphins are going to win this Thursday night game. I haven't made a cold take in a while. It's been a while. But I've watched this Miami Dolphins team slowly progress, almost. I want to use the word. They're starting Jacoby Brissett. Get this. They're starting Jacoby Brissett. They're not starting to interception of what's his nickname? I don't know. Whatever it is.
I don't know what his nickname is.
It doesn't matter. This game is the one for the Dolphins because Trey, the Ravens have been looking like this all year. And during the regular season, the Ravens typically do look like this. And I think they're going to catch them on a down week. The Dolphins, what do every year, Trey? Every year they beat a team they shouldn't beat. Yeah. They beat a team they shouldn't beat. This is the week it's going to happen. Thursday Night Football, Miami Dolphins, book it. I'm calling it now.
All right. Well, I guess we'll revisit this next Thursday. Thank you guys for joining us for another great episode of Shop Talk.
It's been
anything you want to say?
It's been like 3 weeks, man. I haven't made a cold take. I think it's time.
All right, we'll see what happens. I think the Ravens are going to take care of business. I think Lamar's going to put on a show. It's going to be exciting. Hopefully, it doesn't go too crazy, though, because I'm playing against him in fantasy.
Whatever. We'll come back to you guys next week. Thank you.
Get up, let me begin. This is TWSN. You ain't heard about us yet, well, you better know now because it's the place.